Poor weather conditions are preventing divers from beginning their search for that missing AirAsia plane that went down off the coast of Borneo. At the same time, officials are working to identify more bodies taken from the waters near the suspected crash site. Jeff Semple has the latest from Surabaya.
It is pouring rain here in Surabaya. It has been all day, and that really has been the story today. After a brief break in the foul weather this morning that sparked hopes that today might yield some progress in the search, once again, heavy rains and high winds have forced the search and recovery teams to turn back, just like it did yesterday, preventing them from getting to this large object underwater in the area where it's believed the plane went down, an object about 40 meters long that officials believe might be the fuselage from the plane's body. And in there, they would expect to find the plane's black boxes, the flight recorders, as well as many of the passengers. If the plane is indeed largely intact, that would also support what has really become a leading theory here as it pertains to the cause of the crash, that the plane might have suffered from what's called an aerodynamic stall, a result of it trying to go too high, too slowly, perhaps to avoid the bad weather that the pilot was talking about when he spoke to radio control minutes before that plane crashed. But at this point, all of this remains speculation, Hannah, largely because, as I say, the search crews simply can't get close enough. The sun has set now here in Indonesia, and they'll have to wait again until tomorrow morning to try again.
So officials are working to identify more bodies today. Tell us about that.
I seem to have lost you there, but I can tell you that just behind me here is where that tough identification work has been going on. It's here where families have been coming over the last few hours to look at some of the bodies, several of which have now been recovered from the Java Sea. They've been brought here for identification. So forensic experts here are taking fingerprints and DNA samples and trying to match those up with records that they've been compiling from many of the family members of the victims. And as I say, the family members have been making a very difficult walk into the building here behind me to take a look at the bodies and to say whether or not that is indeed their family member. And it is a difficult day here for many of them. As you can imagine, we're hearing that 2 of the bodies have been identified so far, but that work is expected to take many, many weeks and months to continue to identify those bodies. But first of all, of course, they need to be recovered. And as it stands right now, the same weather, the bad weather that may have contributed to the crash itself, is now preventing those search crews from accessing the area and getting to the answers that investigators and family members both so desperately need.
Jeff Semple in Surabaya, Indonesia.